Hello dear students, hope all of you doing good. So today I am going to discuss about double displacement reaction. In the previous class we have discussed about a displacement reaction. So what is a displacement reaction? Displacement reaction means one ion displaces another ion, or one compound is displaces with another compound. So that is what we will call as a displacement reaction. So what is a double displacement reaction? Here what will happen in the double displacement? What happen here? The reaction of one element is displaces with another element. So one element will displaces with another element. So that will be what? See which one is having a more reactive element, that will be displaces a less reactive element. So that is what we will call as a displacement reaction. But what is a double displacement reaction? Here the exchange of ions will takes place. The exchange of ions will takes place. So that is what we will call as a double displacement reaction. So how the ions will be exchanged here? See here the example, that is BaCl2 plus Na2SO4. See here, so here Ba is what? It is a positive ion. Cl is what? Negative ion. Na2 is what? Positive ion, and SO4 is what? Negative ion. So here what will happen? Exchange of ions will takes place. So what the exchange of ions? See here negative ions is displaced with the negative ions. So that will get a BaSO4. BaCl2. Cl2 will be displaced by SO4. So we'll get a BaSO4 plus NaCl. So we'll get a NaCl. Precipitate reaction. So what is a precipitate reaction? During a double displacement reaction, we'll get a precipitate. So when BaCl2, barium chloride, react with the Na2SO4, sodium sulfate, will get a BaSO4, that is what? Barium sulfate. BaSO4 is what? It is a precipitate. What is a precipitate means? It is a insoluble solid. It is a not soluble completely. It is a insoluble solid formed during the precipitate reaction. So that is what we will call as a precipitate or precipitate reaction. So this reaction is important. They may ask the what is precipitate reaction and give the example. So one more example is what? Here PbNO3 twice, lead nitrate plus potassium iodide, which gives a lead iodide plus potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate is what? It is a precipitate. So this you can give this example, or you can give this example. And here also it is displaced. So NO3 is a what? A negative ion, and iodine is a negative, and it is displaced both, and will get a lead iodide. So this is also called a displacement, double displacement reaction. So during the double displacement reaction itself, will get a precipitate reaction. So I hope you understood what is the precipitate reaction. Precipitate reaction means what? It is an insoluble substance which is formed during the precipitate reaction. Insoluble means what? Which will not soluble completely. Which will not soluble completely. That is what we will call as a precipitate reaction. So double displacement means what? It is a exchange of ions takes place. It is a reaction in which exchange of ions takes place. So that is called as a double displacement reaction. So next we will move towards oxidation reaction. Oxidation means what? Adding of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. So by adding a oxygen, we will get a oxidation. That is that reaction what we will call as a oxidation reaction. Here see copper, when we are added to the oxygen, what we will get? We will get a copper oxide, Mg plus O2. Magnesium, when we are added to the oxygen, we will get a MgO. So this is what a balanced equation. So oxidation means what? Adding of oxygen. See what is a reduction? Reduction means what? Removal of oxygen or loss of oxygen. Removal of oxygen and adding of hydrogen. Adding of hydrogen. What is a oxidation means? Oxidation means it is a adding of oxygen or removing of hydrogen. That is called as a oxidation. What is a reduction? Removal of oxygen and adding of hydrogen. That is called as a reduction. So reduction examples I will give you. Here what happens? In the ZNO, O is removed completely and become a Zn plus CO. So that is what? Removal of oxygen is called as a reduction reaction. Adding a oxygen is called as a oxidation reaction, and removing a oxygen is called as a reduction reaction. So adding a oxygen, or you can remove a hydrogen there in the oxidation reaction, and in the reduction reaction, removal of oxygen and adding a oxygen. This is called as a reduction reaction. So I hope you understood what is oxidation and what is reduction. we'll discuss about redox reaction. So what is a redox reaction? A reaction in which reactant undergoes oxidation whereas other gets reduced. Means what? A reactant undergo oxidation and another reaction means what? It may be a product will get reduced during the course of reaction. That is what we will call as a redox reaction. So redox reaction, what happens here? Both oxidation also takes place and reduction also takes place. Here I have example. So what happens in the redox reaction? Here oxidation, it is a reaction in which the reactant undergoes oxidation and other will get reduced. So this reaction is called as a redox reaction. Here I have an example for the redox reaction. CuO plus H2 which gives Cu plus H2O. See here what happens? Oxygen is removed. So removal of oxygen is what? It is a removal of oxygen is what? Removal of oxygen is what? It is a reduction. It is a reduction. Or you can take here or H2O adding. Yes. Or see. So this is what a reduction Cu, and here see CuO plus H2 which gives a H2O. So H2O, here what happens? Oxygen is added. Oxygen is for the H2 we are adding oxygen. Here adding of oxygen H2O, adding of here what? Oxygen, adding of oxygen which gives what? Which gives a oxidation reaction, which gives a see I will give here CuO plus H2 which gives a Cu. What happens here? Here oxygen is removed. So removal of oxygen is what? It is a reduction. So where it is in the product side. In the reactant side what will happen? So reactant should undergo oxidation. So reactant will undergo oxidation and it will convert it into what? H2O. So this H2 is converted into H2O. So here it is what? It is a oxidation. So this is what the example for the redox reaction. Now we will move towards the last part of this chapter, that is corrosion and rancidity. So what is a corrosion? So some metals, so when some metals react with the substance around it like oxygen, water vapor, so that is what? Moisture. So whenever the metals which react with the oxygen and moisture, that is water vapor, so metal gets spoiled. Metal gets spoiled. So that is what? Corrosion. This process is called as the corrosion. When some metals react with the substance around it like oxygen. So whenever the metals react with the oxygen and water vapor, it will that whatever the metal is there, it will get spoiled. That spoiled process is what we will call? We will call as a corrosion. So example is what? Example is a rusting of iron. So rusting of iron. So whenever we will keep that iron in the moisture, so what will happen? It will get spoiled. So that is what we will call as a corrosion. Rusting of iron is a example. See here a equation Fe plus O2 plus H2O which gives a Fe2O3 dot 10 H2O into 10 H2O. So this is what a rusted iron. So next silver articles become black. So that is what equation Ag plus S which gives a Ag2S. Copper becomes green Cu plus O2 which gives a CuCO3. Cu plus CO2 which gives CuCO3. So these all are example for the corrosion. So next rancidity. When fats and oil react, whatever the fat is there and oil is there, that both will react with the oxygen and their smell and taste will be changed. Yes, whenever oil and fat will react with the oxygen, its smell and taste will be changed. That process is what we will call as a rancidity. That process is called as a rancidity. So whenever fat and oil react with the oxygen, their smell and taste will be changed. That process is called as a rancidity. So it is very important. Corrosion and rancidity is very important. They will ask in the examination. So here, so to prevent rancidity, what we will do? Rancidity is prevented by adding a certain substance called antioxidants. So by adding antioxidants, what we will do? We will prevent the rancidity. How to prevent the rancidity? Rancidity is prevented by adding a antioxidant. So antioxidation means what? The substance that prevent a rancidity. That is what we will call as a antioxidation. See, So in the N2 gas, so N2 gas will be what, flushed in the chips packet. So why the N2 gas is flushed in the chips packet? So that is because it act as a antioxidant. So it will not react with that whatever the fat and oil contained in the chips packet, it will not react with the oxygen. So that is the reason N2 gas will be act as a antioxidant for the chips. So that is the reason what we will do, we will flush the nitrogen gas in the chips packet, because nitrogen gas will be act as a antioxidant. So that is the reason we will flush the N2 gas in the chips packet. So this is also they will ask in the examination. So just you remember why N2 gas is flushed in the chips packet. So why it is flushed? That is because N2 gas will be act as a antioxidant for the chips and it will not get rancidity. So that is the reason N2 gas will be flushed in the chips packet. So here salt and sugar also used as a antioxidant for the pickles and jellies, jams. So all these things they will use salt and sugar as a antioxidant. So this is what about rancidity and about corrosion. So how to prevent a corrosion? In the second chapter it is clearly they have given, that time we will discuss. This is the end of this chapter. I hope you have understood entire chapter. So if you have any queries, you put in a comment box. Further chapter I'll come with the next video. So further videos, you subscribe my channel. Thank you.